helps. I think our defense plays well when we have a lead also. So you try to start fast in every game. Sometimes it doesn't happen. And honestly, if it doesn't happen on Monday night, then you still have to, regroup and find a way to get it done, later in the game. But certainly want to come out as fast as we can early. I think that's really important.
There he is. The master of high school musicals, the voice of an angel that we didn't know existed. Kirk Cousins talking about starting fast against the Chicago Bears. This is Purple Daily. Phil Mackey, Judd Zulgad, and Declan Goff. And every single week, we go through our confidence, concern, curiosity trio. The 3 C's heading into this game against the Chicago Bears, the reeling Chicago Bears. What are they? They lost like 3 games in a row now?
3 in a row. That's correct.
There's questions. There's people saying that Mitch Trubisky should be back as the starting quarterback. Now, that is like Vikings fans.
Woof.
Man, we have watched that exact scenario play out a million times where it's like you're in the desert, you're thirsty, and you will just drink sand. Remember 2013 where it was like, oh my God, Christian Ponder's garbage, but Matt Castle's out there, and there he is, and then all of a sudden Matt Castle turns into garbage, and it was like Declan was like Josh Freeman. Oh, he's amazing. No, go back to Christian Ponder. That's what's happening with the Bears right now.
Where's Kelly Holcomb?
Oh, this was 6 years past Kelly
Holcomb. Do you have Gus Farrat?
Well, we went through that with all those guys,
but it's
too.
It's a long line of pain.
And so the Bears have experienced similar, and they're going through that this year. So let's fire it up. The things we are the most confident in, concerned about, and curious about. Minnesota Vikings versus the Chicago Bears. Judd Zulgad, what's the thing that you are the most confident in?
So I would ordinarily, in this case, start with Dalvin Cook, but I'm not going to because, he's just been great, and it feels like a no-brainer pick to pick Cook. So I'm going to go elsewhere, and I'm going to say this. My confidence resides in the fact that I truly believe this. The Vikings defense is not great, but the Chicago Bears are not going to score points.
Yep.
The Chicago Bears are 29th in the National Football League. Despite Matt Nagy being an offensive coach, they are averaging 19.8 points per game. Now, the Vikings, I believe, in scoring defense are 25th, but the past 2 games, which they beat the Packers and Lions, they have given up on average 21 points per game, which is not bad. I am confident that the Chicago Bears, I'm not saying that the Vikings are slam dunk winners in this game, but I am confident it's going to be close, and I'm confident that the Bears will shoot themselves in the foot like the Bears love to do.
In the paw.
And they will not score that many points. So that's my confidence. But yeah, Bears. Okay, so if a bear shoots himself in the paw, what's the sound the bear makes? What's the whimper from a bear?
That's a horse, actually.
Yeah. That's scarier.
But what is it? Oh, stop with your being scared of horses.
Do you not know what animals are? Like, that's a horse.
I know, but I'm asking you, what does a bear sound like if a bear gets shot?
I can't do the noise.
But does it roar authoritatively, or does it anyway? The Bears are not going to score points.
Vikings will find out.
I'll say it's most likely like Lion King, like wake up, but your lion's dead. Anyway,
I've never seen that.
My confidence is similar to Judd, and it goes into my concern, which we'll get into.
This show just took a drastic turn.
What are you guys doing?
I love it. It's Friday. We're having fun.
The Bears can't score any points, dude. Nick Foles, Mitch Trubisky. It does not matter who's at quarterback for this team right now. It really does not. I truly think, like, gun to head, if you had to give me, all right, you want Nick Foles? Do you want Mitch Trubisky? Yeah, I'll take Nick Foles if you have to make me make a decision on that. But then the throws he was making the last game out where he's missing wide open wide receivers, and Matt Nagy, who's supposed to be what? He's supposed to be the offensive genius, right? That was his calling card when he got there. And you have this legendary defense, you can't score points. So I'm confident the Chicago Bears won't score points.
See, I'm not quite. I feel like whenever everyone thinks something in the NFL, It always goes back the other way. So I guess this is kind of a backhanded confidence thing. I am confident that Kirk Cousins will be presented with plenty of opportunities to win his first Monday night game.
All right.
And it's up to him to grab the ring. Okay. Climb the ladder, grab the title. That's all you have to do, because the Bears are going to stack the box. The Bears have been watching what all of us have more intricately with the all 22 footage. They will not let Dalvin Cook. Now, if Dalvin Cook goes off for 200 yards again, it will be superhuman. The Bears will do everything they can to put the ball in Kirk Cousins' hands. They remember the game last year that Stephon Diggs wound up like leaving practice for 2 days afterwards, that game against Chicago, and what Kirk Cousins looked like. The Bears want to replicate that. And so I really think the game flow is going to dictate that Kirk Cousins has a chance to essentially make plays over the top, find Justin Jefferson down the field, and work off play action, because the Bears are going to want it to be that way. Judd, the thing you were the most concerned about.
Oh, concern. I thought we were going curiosity next. My biggest concern is what you had, Phil, as a confidence as far as what the Bears are going to do. But my concern is this: Kirk Cousins and his mental aptitude to process not one, but a double whammy of problems. 0-9 on Monday Night Football. And again, I will say this for all of you, small sample size, it's just a statistic. Quarterback wins mean nothing. When you get to 0-9, an NFL record for ineptitude in a primetime game, that's an issue. Like, you can't tell me none of those 9 defeats are on Kirk. And Kirk is a guy who I think he thinks a lot, and I think he processes things. And I don't think that's always a great thing if you are an athlete. So it's that. And the second thing is the fact that Cousins, in the 2 games that he's played for the Vikings in Chicago, has not won yet. And to go back again to last year, certainly struggled big time. My concern is that Kirk Cousins doesn't necessarily follow the script. The Vikings do get down by a bit, and that he has to start throwing, and that it quickly goes sideways. That's my concern. The Vikings very much need to puppet string Kirk in this game, and very much need to make sure that in some way, shape, or form, Dalvin is the focal point. And if that starts to slip, and you have to figuratively hand off the baton to Kirk, I become very concerned in this environment.
Here's something interesting statistically about the Bears' passing defense. If that's where the game flows to, they have allowed the 2nd worst completion percentage by opposing quarterbacks this year at just 60%. And they have allowed the 4th worst passer rating among opposing quarterbacks. Opposing quarterbacks have an 84 passer rating against the Bears defense. So there's not really like a super weak spot, but if they decide to channel their attention toward Dalvin Cook, then even like they've even showed they can stop both in some of these games. So Dex,
my concern, and this can still be true with my confidence, is I'm worried this is going to be like a 7-6, 10-3 snore fest of a Monday Night Football game.
It's a good concern.
And the Vikings can win this game. They totally can, but I can see it being just a boring, sloppy. I don't even know what the weather situation's like in Chicago. I wouldn't be surprised if it's supposed to be rainy and windy and stuff, So I'm really concerned that this is just going to be a 10-3 drubbing on Monday Night Football. Finally, a primetime win for Kirk Cousins, but it'll be like the most boring, blandest game ever. That's my concern.
Quick choice. 26-23 shootout that's fun, or 30 points plus, or 6-3, but the Vikings win. And they lose if the game goes high scoring. Which do you guys take?
At this point, I would take, I feel bad for Kirk. Like the 6-3 W, get off the schneid, champagne celebration, first Monday night win for Kirk.
I think it's a good question, Judd. I think I would have to go with the latter two. If it's a guaranteed win in that situation with the low scoring game.
The over-under is 43.5 in this game, which is one of the lower over-unders you're going to see in an NFL game.
Yes, sir.
The thing I'm the most concerned about, everyone's sort of sitting here like, man, the Bears offense is a train wreck. They've scored 7 points in the 3rd quarter all year, and they have 7 turnovers, and they have these quarterbacks that just can't get out of their own way, and Mitch Trubisky might be back in at some point here. Here's what I'm concerned about. This is the list of quarterbacks that the Chicago Bears have used to beat the Minnesota Vikings over the past 25 years in various games. Mitch Trubisky, Chase Daniel, Jay Cutler, Josh McCown, Rex Grossman, Kyle Orton, Chad Hutchinson, Jim Miller, Shane Matthews, and Cade McNown. If you want to go back to the mid-90s, it's Eric Kramer and Dave Craig. They can literally run a broomstick out and still beat the Vikings at that position. So it doesn't even matter. Like, Nick Foles is probably the best quarterback of this whole bunch, not named Jay Cutler. And they've still been able to beat the. So the thing I'm most concerned about is like, the Bears quarterback situation is still good enough to beat the Vikings more often than not the last 25 years.
Don't beat yourselves.
The thing you're most curious about, Judd.
So mine it goes to a player that I think we all consider to be a rising star in this league. And my question / curiosity is very simple. Is Justin Jefferson going to catch more than 3 passes or be targeted more than 4 times in this game? That's his catch and target total in each of the past 2 games, which have been wins. So I think if you were to ask the Vikings, if Justin only catches 3 passes against the Bears and is targeted 4 times, but you win, will you take it? I think their answer is yes. But as a football fan, I'll keep saying this. I want to see more. He deserves more. He's done nothing wrong here. Like, as far as I know, he's run the right routes. He's done the right things. When given the opportunities, he has shown himself to be a potential future star. The ball has been taken out of his hands largely because it's been taken out of Kirk's hands. My curiosity is this a game where you do try to find a way that, even if it's sort of like a special package of plays, where you do try to find a way where if the Bears start to take away Dalvin, Jefferson, not necessarily Thielen, Jefferson becomes the focal point of potential deep passes, because he should be.
My concern would be, a lot of people, or actually my curiosity would be, I think a lot of people's concern. But I'm curious how the offensive line goes up against this Bears defense, because it's easier said than done. But if you stop their pass rush, I think it's an automatic win, right? Like it's easier said than done. And this line has terrorized Kirk Cousins and the Vikings over the last 3 years. But I'm curious if the line can hold things up and make Kirk give time to throw. And if there's lanes created to run, then it's going to be easy. Like, it's going to be gravy. But I'm curious if the offensive line can play like their best game yet, because if they don't, it's going to be a rough night.
Okay, this is I don't mean for this to sound like condescending, but the thing I'm most curious about is if the Vikings win, what will be the reaction surrounding Kirk Cousins' first ever Monday night win? Like, will they give him the game ball? Will they in some sort of fun fashion carry Kirk Cousins on their shoulders or something? Like, what will they do to celebrate Kirk Cousins' first ever Monday night win if the Vikings do what they should do, which is win this game? Maybe they all get into an acapella.
Stars again?
They're favored, by the way, 2.5-point favorites.
Yeah, which is remarkable. What if Dalvin stars, though, and Kirk just does his job, which isn't?
Well, there's been Monday night games where Kirk has had good games, and then like other parts of the team.
But I'm saying, let's say it's not a great night in Chicago, which in this month is certainly possible. Let's say he throws 18 passes and he's solid, throws a touchdown or so, but Cook has, a big game. Do we credit Kirk then for not screwing things up? Like, that's a good question.
To me, like, he can throw 4 picks.
How do we process it?
If he throws 4 picks and the Vikings win, off the schneid, baby. Got your first Monday night win.
4 picks.
2 pick sixes. But the Vikings still win.
God, dude.
He's off the schneid.
7 for 21, 4 picks and a touchdown.
It'd be like if a pitcher, you just need to go 5, dude. Just go 5.
Just 5. Pelfrey, can you give us 5?
We're up 20-0. And he gives up 7 runs. But you know what? He got the win. That's what Kirk's looking to do.
Wow.
On Monday Night Football.
That's great.
So, all right, that's a wrap on this episode of Purple Daily Confidence, Concern, Curiosity Edition. And on Monday, Steve Levy, the voice of ESPN's Monday Night Football play-by-play booth, will join us for a special episode. We'll post that hopefully in the morning on Monday, so you guys can check that out in your pregame leading up. Phil Mackey, Judd Zulgad, Declan Goff. See you guys.